I mean, yeah, it's fully automatic, but it's just a BB gun. How much fun could a BB gun possibly be? Wow, I was wrong. That's a lot of fun. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Air guns are amazing. Stay with me and I'll review Crosman's DPMS SBR. First of all, I have to apologize for the wind. It's pretty noisy out here today. I hope that doesn't bother you too much. So this is Crosman's DPMS SBR BB rifle. Just shoots regular old copper BBs. This thing is just amazing. And if you didn't see the unboxing video, I gave a pretty good overview of its features in that video, and there's a link in the description down below. One thing that's changed since then is the red dot. I had a Vortex crossfire on there. Now I've got an Aurora red dot sight, which is much more affordable, so a little more fitting for a BB gun, but very, very well made. And in the little testing I've done with it, it holds its zero very well. It's a great little optic you can find on Amazon. In fact, I'll just put a link to that too down in the description. The magazine comes out just like on an AR-15 or M16. It's got the pins on this side. I press this pin in, see if I can get a hold of it with my fingernail. The gun breaks apart just like, you know, the M16 guns. And there's another pin here. I won't do it out here. I don't want to drop parts in the dirt, but if I push the other one out, the whole upper comes right off, just like on a real firearm. So it's pretty impressive. Adjustable stock, as I showed in the unboxing video. Collapses pretty far and comes out to where it actually fits me pretty well. Up here it's got little angled grip already installed, comes with that. Also comes with flip up front and rear sights. They're just plastic, but they're pretty tough. You could use those. I mean, it's a BB gun, right? Accuracy is only good out to, well, they say 10 yards. I've had pretty good luck with it out to about 12, 13 yards too, and it doesn't hold a real tight group, but when you're slinging BBs, it's just fine. Also, this Aurora red dot is the perfect height that it actually does co-witness perfectly with your sights if your battery's down or if you'd just rather use the flip-up sights. It's got this little, I guess it's supposed to be sort of a fake flash hider or something on there. It's actually reverse threaded, so if you take it off, you turn it right to take it off, left to put it back on. Obviously, rails all around the handguard up there. You attach all kinds of stuff. They're not metal, but they're tough. You could put all kinds of accessories on there. Pretty cool. Over here, you've got your little ping pong paddle, put your ball forward, charging handle, which you do use just like you would on a real firearm. Well, now that you've seen it, why don't we go over the loading process for it? The BBs I'm using are just these Crosman Copperhead BBs. I bought these on Amazon.com. You get about 6,000 of, well, yeah, 6,000 of them for about $10. The magazine, this is pretty interesting how this is made. The magazine has a panel right here on the side of it that just pops off, and it has these compartments here where you're going to put the CO2. And before I load the CO2 into those, I want to show you what I do. And it always says this in the manual of CO2 guns, to put a little drop of lube. This is just Crosman Pelgun oil right on the top like that, so that as it's in the gun and the gun's shooting, that'll kind of get blown through the system, just keep everything lubricated and sealed. Then at that point, I just drop the CO2 down into the magazine, and it has a tool that stores right in it. And notice I put the CO2 on the left side, and it says first there. If you put the CO2 in this side first and tighten it, all the gas will just leak out. So this one has to be done first. Then just take this Allen key, turn it until it snugs up against that cartridge, and then I'll just quickly turn it, piercing it and sealing the gas inside. Then go ahead and grab the other CO2 cartridge, get a drop on it as well, and then of course it just goes into the other side of the magazine. Snug that one up, and then just seal it off. Don't forget to put the tool back. It just slides into place right there. And then to put the panel back on, those two tabs just line up with those holes, and it's all back together. Now let's go ahead and get the magazine loaded. To do that, I'm going to pull down on this little spring-loaded lever that has the grips on it. Now you can just drop BBs right into that hole. I've done it that way. It's a bit of a pain, but the gun comes with this little speed loader that's pretty nice. It's pretty self-explanatory. Pops open right there. You just fill that up with your BBs, holds quite a few. And it has this little, I'll call it almost like a little shark fin that goes right into this groove in the magazine. You can even use it to pull that spring down in the first place. I found it doesn't hold on great though, so I just pull it down with my finger, and when you slide it over to the side, it'll hold. This has a little dispenser that lines up with that hole. So as I just hold that in place, I start pumping on this lever, and see if you can see BBs falling down into the magazine. So you just pump that a few times until it's full. And it looks like I even pumped out one extra BB. Then don't forget to push this little spring over to the left, and then it pushes up against the BBs. And now the magazine's ready to go into the gun. With the magazine charged with CO2 and loaded with BBs, it just goes into the magazine well, put it in nice and firmly, and then tug down just to make sure it is locked in there secure. Now I'm going to go ahead and charge it with the charging lever, or charging handle rather. So now it's charged and ready to go. Over on this side, it has a selector just like on the M16. That's safe, semi-automatic, and fully automatic. Let's leave it on safe right now, but otherwise it is ready to shoot. Now while I'm shooting, I actually want to get us a little chronograph data and see how fast this gun can shoot these BBs. So I've got up here attached to the front the FX Pocket chronograph, and we're going to put the gun in semi-automatic. I've got the chronograph connected to my phone over here, and we'll see if it can tell us how fast these BBs are moving. That was 479 feet per second. Oh, locked up on me. 480, 478, 471, 467. I'll just run through the rest of these here. And that is all. Let's take a look at the shot string. So, not great data. High was 480, low was 366. And we had an average of 422 with a spread of 114. So, not terribly consistent, but just a fun, BB machine gun. I'm not really worried about the accuracy or the consistency. This is a type of gun that's just fun for plinking. Well, I'll get it loaded up again and we'll try it in fully automatic. All right, the gun's loaded up again. So we'll close the bolt and I'm going to switch it to full automatic now. I don't know if it'll read the shot chronograph in fully automatic. It's a very, very fast rate of fire. So we'll just see. Let's see what happens here. Well, it read a few, and unfortunately it did not lock back on the last shot. It kept on wanting to fire, but I'll bet we had a malfunction. Yeah, got locked up. There are still a few BBs in there, so let's just fire them out. There we go. But again, it didn't lock up. It's supposed to lock up after the last shot, and in my experience with this gun so far, it usually does unless it's malfunctioning. That time it did get all the BBs out. The bad thing about that, if it keeps on firing, obviously you're wasting gas without getting any shots. And I'm surprised it's doing that because usually, like I said, it does lock open and doesn't waste the air. Well, let's take a look at its accuracy. Now let's do the big target on the bottom in full auto. Gun's struggling in full auto today. Try one more magazine. That just about went through those ones. Yeah, I don't know what to think of it in full auto today. This is the first day I've had this trouble with it. Well, here's the target. This one on the top right is where I was shooting in semi-automatic, and I was aiming at the center at first, but I couldn't see that I was getting these hits, so I moved and started shooting over to the right, and they actually started to go over to the right. It's very windy, so I'm not going to judge the group. I have seen this gun group much better from 10 yards. Down here was the full auto, a couple in the bullseye, but mostly they dropped down low. And as you can see, the gun was malfunctioning a lot in full auto. Well, I think that's about all we can do in this wind today. It's just pretty gusty, as you can see. Well, I'm not ready to say run out and buy one of these. I recommend it for obvious reasons. It's having some struggles with full auto. It really is a lot of fun, and I've been shooting it a bit with my son, and we've even done some indoor shooting with it, and this is the first time I've had any struggles. Usually it just works flawlessly, unless you shoot too long and you start to lose power in the CO2, then it stays open. But as long as it's powered, it usually will stop and lock the bolt open after that last shot. If you're wondering how many shots you get on one charge of CO2 with those 2 cartridges in there, my son and I, in our experience, and we've only counted on full auto, but we could get through about 5 magazines, so about 125 shots before we start noticing that the power is starting to wane. After that, it does start to wane, and again, then it doesn't lock open and it starts wasting its last air. We haven't counted on semi-automatic, but I would imagine, and I've even heard others say, you can get even more shots in semi-automatic. So, I mean, good value. It's not that expensive to buy if you catch it on sale. I bought this from Airgun Depot, and I'm part of their mailing list, and so I caught a great deal on it. It even came with 2 magazines, which is pretty rare. Again, it comes with that grip up there, comes with all the features you see except for this red dot. We will revisit this gun again on the channel. I still say air guns are amazing, but this one might just have some issues that need to be worked out. Please don't forget to click that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so you can see more videos. And if you look in the description, you'll see where to find me on social media. Thank you so much for watching.